Trump lashes out over everybody about Epstein.
Wider swath of voters are also concerned. There's new polling out today. 70% of Americans think that there is a client list. And while there may not be, the DOJ claims there isn't. That comes after a long time where Bondi and others literally told everyone there was. More than 60% see Trump as hiding information. That's true. That's the secrecy we've been reporting on. And a whopping 81% blame Trump for the way that the administration or others are hiding the info. In other words, the dance that we hear politicians sometimes do apparently isn't working on most of the public. 81% includes a heck of a lot of Trump voters. Top Republicans are also concerned about that story going into the weekend, where this administration, which rode a wave of outrage over Epstein, is now giving leniency to his only incarcerated conspirator, Maxwell. So she was moved to that minimum security prison. Epstein victims were outraged. Why, of anyone in the entire prison system, in their view, should this convicted sex trafficker who worked with Epstein get leniency right now, get a nicer prison environment, which, by the way, if you're a prisoner, that's one of the biggest major changes in your life you can get other than getting sprung out, is getting to a better, sometimes safer prison. She got to a minimum security facility that, under DOJ rules, people convicted of her crimes shouldn't even be allowed to be in, which makes it very suspicious. Now, Republican senators, who famously go along with just about everything Trump does, including things that they had previously opposed, say this whole Maxwell thing has gone far enough. They are publicly urging Trump not to pardon her. To even have that conversation is a type of indictment. Think about the ethics of pardoning a convicted sex trafficker if there's no new evidence or substantive reason. Trump is not ruling it out, which is why they are warning in public. And so the Epstein panic, from the substance, what I read to you from the victims and their families, to the politics, Charlemagne, and the polling, to the ethics, again, of a world where the people who claim justice for Epstein are now aligned with a president who's helping an Epstein conspirator and sex trafficker. We turn to Michelle Goldberg, who has been reporting and writing about this for some time for the New York.
Don't you find it interesting overall? The amount of coverage, or at least that, just how the establishment is just hiding everything. Like, again, Trump, you ran on trying to release the files. Now Epstein's victims are demanding accountability. And I got another video after this that's going to make all of you want to punch your screen. But don't punch it too hard.
New York Times, MSNBC analyst. Your view about this story and how it continues with the substantive help to Maxwell. She's been upgraded.
It's so astonishing. And I mean, I feel like so many astonishing things happen in this rolling catastrophe of an administration that we lose track of it. But how quickly we have moved from Trump is going to blow the lid off on the Epstein conspiracy to Trump is going to both, sort of do favors for Epstein's chief conspirator. And now the idea of a pardon is out there in the ether. It's really astonishing. And I think the question then becomes, first of all, why this transfer, which nobody has even given the ghost of an explanation for. And then what is Trump hiding, right? Because all of this is happening when Ghislaine Maxwell, there still is a possibility that she could be subpoenaed to testify before Congress. So first you have Trump sending his former private attorney, now a Justice Department official, to speak to her for hours on end. Then she gets this inexplicable transfer. And again, I'm somebody who didn't necessarily think that there was something terribly incriminating about Donald Trump in these files, but he is doing his best. I mean, on the one hand, he says he wants this story to go away. He wants people to stop talking about it, but he obviously doesn't want that enough not to make, or for his administration not to make, these moves that, at least on the surface, look extraordinarily incriminating.
Yeah, these are huge risks. These are very guilty looking risks, to your point. And in politics,
I want to pause something here real quick. We're going to do a pause here for a minute. I love my little birds, especially when they land on my shoulder and go, hey, Kit, I got something I want to show you. Maybe, you know what? Hey, Cortex Creations. Shout out to him on Instagram. He's done a lot of fan art. You should have like a little bird like land on my shoulder and say, "Hey, I got some news." Like it like holding a piece of information or a newspaper. Like, and I'm whispering, like, "What's the news, little birdie?" Shout out the hotspot. See, because again, I love my audience. I love you people. This is from Hotspot. And it says, unearthed footage of Mr. Twump saying sleeping with 17-year-olds is his form of alcoholism.
I have a question. My question is, how many jets do you have and how would I apply to be flight attendants?
I think she's hired. Yeah, hired. Now, I had a case. It was very interesting. A beautiful girl who was 17 or 18 applied to be a waitress. She's so beautiful. She's like a world-class beauty, like the young lady who just asked a question about the actress. She's so beautiful. And my people came, she said, "Look, Mr. Trump, she has no experience. So I interviewed her anyway, because she was so beautiful." And I said, "Let me ask you, do you have any experience?" She goes, "No, sir." I said, "When can you start?" You can work at my plant anytime. Hey. See, now, she worked at my plant. That's like a death wish for me, right? That's like an alcoholic. I have many friends that are wonderful people. They're alcoholics. You put scotch in front of them. It's like, this would be my form of alcoholism. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Well, he didn't say it directly. I mean, okay, Mr. Trump, 17, 18. All right. I mean, 18, 17, ha.
Looking guilty is bad. In law, we have a different standard. And as you were careful to note, the fact that somebody's referenced or caught up in a scene is not at all probative of the higher criminal standard. And he hasn't, even when he was out of power, been accused of that kind of wrongdoing. And he's famously been accused and faced prosecution for other wrongdoing. As for the so-called transparency, that's the other whole bit of it, Michelle. They have twisted themselves in knots. The victims, as I reported, are upset about it. But the government officials have twisted themselves in knots in a way that they can't hide. There were enough FBI personnel involved that people discussed it with reporters, and reporters very carefully sourced and fact-checked. Bongino famously talked about, well, if they don't release it, he might quit. Well, he hasn't quit, and they haven't released it. And it goes on in that manner, where then one of the floated things, as you know, and I'll remind viewers, because there's been so many twists and turns, was, maybe they need a special counsel. You don't need a special counsel. You have all the stuff. You don't need a new way to punt it out for a year if anyone was serious about transparency. Here's what Obama's AG said about that debate right now.
So finally, you would release the files if you were Attorney General right now?
No, they wouldn't. The Democrats would not release the files. 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 Sorry, I got to repeat it so many times, but I mean, it's the only way it's going to stay drilled into your head.
Yeah, I mean, take into account, the privacy interests of various people, certainly the victims uppermost. But there is investigative material that can certainly be released, that should be released. The focus shouldn't be on grand jury material, because there are a whole bunch of problems with respect to the release of grand jury materials. But with regard to investigative files that are in the possession of the Justice Department and the FBI, those materials should be released.
So what does the secrecy tell us?
Well, I mean, it's certainly not about the victims, right? And that has been their fig leaf so far. You've heard that from Kash Patel and from others, that they can't release this material because it would re-victimize these women. Now, these women are out there saying, or at least some of them, that they feel victimized by the way the administration is handling this material, and yet it's not changing the administration's approach. So I think we can rule out any concern about that from their motives. And again, we don't know what they're hiding. We only know that, the indications are overwhelming that they're hiding something, and that they're willing to take significant political hits. I mean, right, the floating a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell is crazy. It's, and it's also guaranteed to keep this story alive now, long after this administration has tried to put it to bed. And yet they're willing to do it.
Speaking of victims, here's a victim. All right. Okay. This is a video from Hotspot. Want to read it. Juliette Byron, one of Jeffrey Epstein victims, claimed that the famed director, Michael Bay, again, her accusation, was among the guests she saw on Epstein Island back in 2004, just before he made his clone-themed film, The Island. The Island. Oh, I'm going to look at that movie differently now. According to Byron, the guest list included not just Hollywood types, but also scientists, which lines up disturbingly well with reports that Epstein had a fixation on eugenics, gene editing, and human cloning. What could go wrong? She also warned that some of Epstein victims have been dying under suspicious circumstances and slammed the media for deliberately misrepresenting and covering up the scope of Epstein's operation. Let's just play it. This is her statement, her allegation, her opinion.
My name is Juliette Bryant. I was kidnapped by Jeffrey Epstein 21 years ago. I'm 41 years old now. This happened when I was 20. I met him when he was in Africa with Bill Clinton. I was taken there to model and soon kidnapped to the island. I was taken to all the properties over an 18-month period. Many unexplained things happened to me there. I've been trying to write a book about it. Not trying to make money, but trying to help share information and also looking for answers. The media is lying. Epstein's accomplice, Maxwell's family, used to own the media. It's not the victims lying, it's the media lying. Also, some of the victims have been dying suspiciously, such as Carolyn, who testified against Maxwell. She died and it took the media 6 months to speak about it. I saw at least 60 girls when I was there over the time, but I didn't see any girls being trafficked to other men. I also wasn't trafficked to other men, but I did see scientists there. I also met Michael Bay, the movie producer. He made a movie about cloning, The Island, the movie is called. He made the movie in 2005, and I met him in 2004 at Epstein's New Mexico ranch. He denied being there, but I saw him there. Epstein worked with the CIA and Israeli Mossad, and so did Maxwell and Wexner, apparently. Epstein told me he worked with CIA. Michael Bay also apparently met with the CIA.
Yes, well, what I want to point out here is that, when we look at all these Hollywood types, all these people in positions of power, it's sad. It's disturbing to witness because there's a lot of people in pain and suffering still. I want to pull this up here, just add a little bit of light humor in this very grim, dark world. It's a meme from Representative Thomas Massie. Democrats leaving Texas to protect their district. Okay. Democrats leaving Texas to protect their district. Republicans leaving D.C. to protect the Epstein files. Huh. Damn, Thomas. You don't have to do too much of a gut check. I also pull up something else here that's pretty odd. Pretty odd. Listen, when this guy's like the voice of reason in the room, things are bad. Things are getting bad. Things are not ham. Yes, everybody. You know him, you love him. Hunter Biden. Hey, Hunter.
Do you think it was like a suicide? Epstein?
No. Nobody does. I mean, really, except for all of a sudden, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Nobody thinks it was. Yeah. Is that you have that renowned doctor, a coroner, that did the, what's it called?
Postmortem autopsy.
Yeah, the postmortem autopsy.
I don't know if that's what it's called.
He talks about all the different, the different fractures in his neck and how it was impossible that he could have done that.
You can't
by simply
leaving by strangling yourself.
What?
You can't commit suicide.
Exactly. And he says
yourself to death, even if you hate life.
Yes, exactly. That literally is an impossibility and a fiction. And there's this idea that what he did is like he leaned forward. Well, none of it matches up. There's that guy that just testified not testified. He was interviewed that was in the cell next to Jeffrey Epstein's, and he said it just absolutely.
Hold on, someone in the chat just wrote this. Hold on, Prim54. I know it's BS, and I smoked that booger sugar, that crystal rock. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful what you say here now. I mean, come on. I mean, of all people, Hunter make it say, hey, you know what? I'll take it. I'll let this one slide. Just this one time. Jeez Louise, what has become of us?
Not testified. He was interviewed that was in the cell next to Jeffrey Epstein's, and he said it's just absolutely impossible that he would have been able to do that. Now you have the tape that comes out, and it's not just 1 minute missing from the tape. It's actually 3 minutes from the tape has been overwritten.
Well, you know that's standard protocol at the most secure facility in the country.
Well, that yes, yeah. I mean, it's and just that alone. You have someone that everyone absolutely knows that if anything happens to him is going to be, you're going to be accused of a gigantic cover-up. And he dies, and the guy that is his co-conspirator in France, what's his name? He just happens to, commit suicide or, die in mysterious ways in prison. And, the woman who's living in Australia, she commits suicide just before that. I mean, look, again,
Look, Jack, I know I got problems, but if I'm calling it out, everybody, listen, left or right. And you know what? Probably people are going to say, hey, Kit, this is a distraction. That's fine. Yes, we could call it a distraction. We could call this like a deflect here or there. But the fact that you got Hunter Biden, of all people, even saying this. Oh, man, look at this, folks. This is why you need to tune in every morning for Hard Lens Media, because you never know what you're going to get.
I'm feeding into the conspiracy, but clearly, I mean, who believes that he killed himself?
No one.
Nobody.
Nobody. And while this isn't related to Epstein, open your ears.
Yeah, so there have been many reports recently that the Trump administration has been seriously considering a pardon. Now, I had heard from my sources, Jake, that those reports were premature, and the president actually commented on this just days ago. Take a look at what Nicole told me. Have people in Sean Combs's orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes. My understanding is that we have reached out.
Reached out is one thing. Having a conversation is another. Do you know if there have been active conversations about a pardon?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
President Trump, when he was asked about this pardon, he said, quote, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and he seemed like a nice guy. Yeah, so there have been many reports.
So there you go. I also want to pull this up here. All right, because as we all know, Trump is considering giving Miss Maxwell a pardon. And if you're a Trump supporter, you need to be furious about this. You need to be a little bit upset about this, because here's the thing. Maxwell told Department of Justice Trump never did anything concerning around her. Okay. And that might be the case. Trump could just say, oh, yeah, I like a lot of women. So there you go. But here's the thing. These rich people know about each other. And there was probably a much more real, legit reason why Trump kicked out Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he probably can't say too much. I don't know. We could all sit here and speculate. In my opinion, Jeffrey Epstein's madame, his squeeze, his side piece, Maxwell, told the Justice Department officials in recent interviews that she never saw Trump do anything concerning. The notorious trafficker gave no information that could potentially harm Trump's reputation. Maxwell had huddled with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was also Trump's former criminal defense lawyer, for 9 hours late last month. Her lawyer previously revealed that Maxwell had answered questions about 100 different people as she tries to hash out a deal with the feds to spill out secrets about her late PDF file ex. And we all know that she's been moved to a nice and fancy place called Club Fed, a Texas prison. Listen, Trump supporters. It's okay to be angry with your guy. You don't have to have nothing but you don't have to have nothing but loyalty to him. You can actually stand up to him and call him out for his hypocrisy, for his negligence. And all the while, the victims are still speaking out. Release the damn files. Release the files. You can't hide it anymore. Stop treating us like we're children. Show us the damn files. We need to know. Everyone needs to know. It's all one big, crazy, sick club. And thank God you're not in it. But the victims deserve respect and peace. Now more than ever.